Hey, good evening, guys. Well, a few things to talk about tonight. Hope everyone's doing well. One thing is I've been working on that ODK kit of the XP50, and I realize that it's a kit from the late 50s, early 60s, maybe the 70s, but as I've gotten into it, it's definitely had its issue with fits and flash and everything. It's not to me, to be sure. I wouldn't exactly call it aggravating. It's got some interesting design features, like the plate you have to mount in the nacelle for the prop shaft instead of the prop shaft just being a shaft going through the back of the cowling and engine. Some things like the bottom of the wing and the cowling and the engine, little or no detail, but you know, it was not an expensive kit, and it is an interesting thing, an interesting item to build. I was snooping around earlier, scrounging through my stash, and I couldn't find a USAF decal that was in the right scale. And finally, I found something that said U.S. Air Force. Like, well, I can just cut out the U, the S, the A, the F, and put it on the wing, line it up manually, not a problem. But before I thought to do that, I said, well, let me see if I've got any extra USAF decals in any of the kits. And by the way, I rearranged my stash today, as you may have noticed. If I get around to putting that in the intro, I may use the existing intro. I don't know. Rambling. Anyway, so I got this V47 from Academy a while back. I got this when Hobby World was closing. Got it for a real good deal on it, and along with a whole bunch of other stuff. Pretty much everything I could afford to lay my hands on it, I grabbed. And interesting kit. I really hadn't taken a chance to open and look at it. And a lot of detail and everything in the usual 1 to 144 scale, which is Academy's big thing. Anyway, the USAF in there was too small for me to use unless I used the one that goes on the plane. They didn't have any spares. But, not my point. While I was in here and snooping around, I went ahead and decided, well, you know what, I'll just, take a look at the kit. The next thing you know, you're putting parts together. Now, did you guys ever, open a box and look at a kit without really intending to get started on it, but the next thing you know, you're building it? Well, anyway, but the point I was going to make is that compared to the 60-year older ODK kit, it's just a world of difference. The ODK kit doesn't really have much in the way of alignment pins, rough fits, tons of flash. Don't get me wrong, I'm still enjoying the build. I'm not trying to knock the kit, but there are going to be some huge gaps. Going to need a pound of putty. But then you use a modern kit, and of course everything just seamlessly fits together, and you realize how spoiled we are. So I just thought that was an interesting tidbit. Now, talking about building kits and putty, which leads us to paint. We were talking about paint this morning. I did a little research earlier today, and some of you had recommended that I needed to get lacquer thinner to clean my airbrush out. Well, I decided to look that up, and I found an interesting video that I'll link down here. This guy is a professional craftsman. I guess he does furniture and stuff, but he works with everything: wood, metal, not doing models, but doing, I guess, I don't really know if he does furniture or what, or is a carpenter, but he laid out all the different kinds of solvents, and he went everything from, he's talking about acetone, linseed oil, mineral spirits, the lacquer thinner, all this other stuff, and he gets into what they are and what they're good for. And I grew up in a hardware store, and I learned a ton listening to him. So I do have some denatured alcohol, and I do have acetone, but I'm going to go, as you guys recommended, I'm probably going to get some mineral spirits, and I'm going to go get some lacquer thinner. And apparently he gets a little bit into I wouldn't say the chemistry, but what you can and can't do with them, just from a practical point of view. No, you can go watch the video, but given that lacquer thinner is so much cheaper than the thinner that we buy, and you can use it to thin enamel paints and everything. And I think he's doing it for bigger projects, but I'll bet it would work just. I mean, it's lacquer thinner; it's a thinner. I would imagine we're working in enamels. I might give that a test. If you guys know, let me know, and let us all know in the comments below. I did get some Tamiya Airbrush cleaner, which helps, and that may just very well be mineral spirits for all I know. I didn't realize that mineral spirits was actually one of, I think it was mineral spirits was actually one of the higher grade. He had that other stuff, I forget the chemical name. But apparently the denatured alcohol, was one of them he talks about, I forget, it was a mineral spirits or denatured alcohol. Whichever one it was, apparently he was saying, I don't think he was kidding, that they actually put a couple of poisons into it so that they don't have to sell it as liquor, like the kind that you drink and pay the taxes on it. Apparently, if they were to just make denatured alcohol without putting anything in it, it's alcohol. And I don't know. I know some alcohols are poisonous, like wood alcohol, make you go blind, that stuff. But anyway, point I'm driving at is that was just kind of a cool factoid. You really might, if you don't already know this stuff, you might want to watch the video. It's 16 minutes long. You can probably skip some of the stuff that we don't use, like linseed oil, but still, it was a great little education. And I'm going to go watch it a couple more times. He actually has a printout that he says is on his site or whatever that you can just print out, and he just gives you this information in writing so you know what you got. So I need to educate myself a little bit better, because $8 a shot for the little red tester's can is just sorry guys. Or same thing for the Tamiya airbrush cleaner. I mean, I know the stuff works. And he even talks about how some of this stuff is really good for cleaning up locked up airbrushes. And I imagine he's thinking of good big commercial jobs, but hey, sauce for the goose, sauce for the gander, right? So I wanted to touch on one other subject. Early next week, I'm doing the last of my scheduled PT this week. It'll be Thursday. And then Tuesday, start doctor's appointment. So I got to start studying up. So probably, this is not engraved in stone, but probably Sunday night, the Sunday evening show will be my last regularly scheduled show, and I want to try and do something kind of special for you. So I'll be putting that together. There's no way I'm going to get to a lot of these models between now and then. But I now, don't misunderstand me. It's not the end of the channel or anything. I'll still be putting out content, but and maybe even daily content for a little while. But and I've still got several of the histories that I'm working on and people I want to interview. I'm still hoping to get up with Pete Vetri and see if it's okay to release that video, because that needs his approval and stuff like that. So, I don't want you to think this is the end of the channel at all, by any means, but obviously I'm gonna have to get face down in the books and start relearning my job trade. And 1,001 projects to go. Right now, I'm in for a little bit of fun, because my wife and I have been mostly she has been binge watching Face Off. Now, we saw the series when it came on the air originally. We watched it all in real time. For those who don't know, Face Off is a competition for people who do like facial prosthetics and makeup for Hollywood. A lot of creatures and stuff like that. And it's fun, and I thought about getting into that stuff. So did my wife, because she does the dolls and I do the models, and we have half the stuff here. And of course that artistic drive, but then, we were both kind of like, that's a big mess and we got too many hobbies. And then what are we going to do with them when we make them? We don't cosplay. So, but the thing is that this is the one episode of all the 10 or 12 seasons of Face Off. This is the only one where they're actually doing kaiju, giant monster. So she paused the TV. I'll be editing this while we're watching that. It's probably my favorite episode, although the guys didn't really do as great as I had my own ideas for kaiju, so this was kind of like my thing. I was like, oh man, come on, you could have done better than that. But they only got like 2 days to make these things, so God bless them. So I'm gonna be trying to get some footage for the grand, let's call it the regular season finale, not the series finale. And I think I'm going to be the only guy that's lamenting the end of COVID, because then I'm going to have to, go back to the real world. Won't have the time to do all this cool stuff every day. So that's pretty much all I got for this evening. I'll take some pictures of it's hardening right now. Just getting the wings level is a trick on that thing. I think I'm going to go Korean War era Air Force, and that's why I was looking for the USAF. I did find some Marine decals, and I thought about it, but in the Korean War, most of the Marine aircraft were like black with red Marines on them, because they did a lot of night operations. I'm like, yeah, They're all of them are white or in black. So, yeah, you know, but I just decided, you know, now it was an Air Force. It would have been an Air Force airplane, and I just popped a thought in my head, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe the first successful nighttime radar air intercept jet kill was a Marine Corps, was it Sky Knight, which is technically it was a fighter, but it looked like a bomber because the crew sat side by side, the radar intercept officer and the pilot sat side by side, and the engines are under the belly and straight wing, but yeah, they were able to use the radar to track down and shoot down an enemy aircraft. And I forget if it was jet on jet or just the first successful night combat jet intercept resulting in a shoot down, but I believe it was Marine Corps. So chalk one up for the Corps, which, by the way, I was disappointed to learn for all you guys who are into armor and tanks, word's floating around that the Marine Corps may be getting rid of their tanks, or actually I think it's been announced that they are they have like 3 battalions, so that's changing things. They're getting ready for the 21st century. Apparently the Brits are talking about cutting back on them or even eliminating them also. I'm like, whoa, I was in the infantry. I've gone up against tanks, trust me. You talk about bringing the bigger gun to the gunfight, getting rid of tanks. Tanks are good as long as they're on your side. They're not perfect. They need infantry support. But so if you model your tank, for criminy's sake, remember to give them infantry support. So anywho, that's pretty much all I have for tonight. And well, yeah, I'm not thinking anything else. Paint stuff, yeah. The hellfish. I really did just run out of stuff to say. Mark that date on your calendar. You see, Godzilla has the hard top because he can fit in it. But Ghidorah has to drive a convertible because of the big wings. And what apparently hasn't realized yet is the reason that Shin keeps winning all of the drag races is because of all the parasite drag from the wings. But you know, he just loves to air out his armpit, so there you go. You know, well, if you were a kaiju, what kind of kaiju would you be, and what kind of car would you drive? Well, guys, once again, thanks for watching, and let's have coffee in the morning, all right? All right, we'll see you then. Why are you still here?